Yes, hello everybody here at the Vienna UN Center and outside digitally. I like to greet and meet you here now at the Fireside Chat with the title The Reality of Working in the Arts for Creators, Performers and Exhibitors. My name is Niels. I work for Capito Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, where I'm the director and I'm also engaged in the arts, and especially in the inclusive arts. And I'm, very interested now and proud to meet Oyen Nash from the project of Inclusion for All and Suisha Arts. Hi, Oyen. Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself to the audience.
Sure. Thank you, Niels, and hello to everybody at the Zero Project. I'm sorry not to be able to be there, but very happy to be with you online. My name is Owen Nash. I'm based in Cork in Ireland. I'm a researcher in the area of inclusive arts at University College Cork, supported by Research Ireland. And I also work for a disability service provider organisation called Horizons. We're a large organisation based in the south of Ireland, working primarily with people with intellectual disabilities and autism, with about 1,000 staff. And my role there is manager of arts and creative arts therapies. And I'm going to share a little bit about some of what we're experiencing on the ground in the projects that we're currently working on.
Okay, yeah, Oyen, thank you very much for this general information. How did it come up that you started working on Suisha Arts? What is it about? What is the aim of Suisha Arts? Maybe you can give us a few informations about that.
Sure. So, Suisha Arts was founded in 2014. I've been involved with this work for over 20 years now in terms of arts practice and disability arts work. I founded this Suisha Arts in 2014 to look at opportunities for creatives and intellectually disabled artists to find more opportunities to platform their work, to influence education systems, and to also work towards kind of employment opportunities in the arts for the artists that I work with.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And how does it work? I mean, how many people did you reach out in this project? Who are the partners? And what was the baseline when you started at the beginning?
Okay, well, I suppose in our education programs, firstly, we have maybe 150 people accessing our education programs on a weekly basis. That's internal, supported by Cork Education and Training Board here in Ireland. And in addition to that, then we have this kind of primarily the thing I'm going to share with you today about is these community employment programs. And essentially what these are like apprenticeship models, because we know that there is a lack of educational opportunities for people to professionalize within the higher education systems and in other educational systems. So we're looking at a practice-based model for development up to 4 years on what we're calling community employment schemes. Now, these schemes are funded by the Department of Social Protection in Ireland. And what they do is they allow people who are on long-term unemployment, people with disabilities who are on disability allowances, to come into a work environment for up to 4 years and to work specifically with us on developing their practice.
Okay,
So
and
we've
yeah,
been,
go ahead,
sorry,
please.
go
Yeah.
ahead. So we've been working with a range of artists now in different fields, for example, film, photography, visual arts, theatre makers, dancers, musicians, rappers. Um, and these artists come onto our program, and over those 4 years, we support their time and their practice as they develop their skill sets in this kind of more apprenticeship based model towards employment. So we're looking at developing their profile with them, working with them, and how they want to be represented in the arts sector. And we're also then working in the mainstream sector, trying to bridge those gaps that exist. So for working with employers and how we might bridge those gaps where they exist for people, and also supporting training and development with these artists towards opening up new opportunities and sustainable opportunities within the arts sector.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Could you specify what kind of gaps, barriers do you face, and what are the major turnouts or changes in the lives of these people that are educated in inclusive arts? Could you give some specific examples, please?
Okay, so I think a first key gap is these developmental opportunities to work within professions. So often the work of artists might be not platformed. It doesn't get the same exposure as as maybe the mainstream artists do. So there's a barrier there initially in terms of the opportunities to get the work platformed or shared. I think one of the big things is one of the big gaps really is within the mainstream sector. There's a lack of knowledge on how to support artists and being sustained within settings like that. So there's a fear of how to go about business with disabled artists with the artists I work with, intellectually disabled artists. And I think that is also a barrier. There's also the obvious barriers of the physical barriers and physical barriers that exist within settings, for example, within where exhibitions are being held, or theatres that may not have fully accessible spaces for audiences or performers. So what we have here is an array of kind of physical barriers, attitudinal barriers, and systemic barriers that are kind of built on ableist kind of attitudes. And now what we need to do is try and work with artists to really discover and find ways through those barriers to bridge those gaps. And that work is happening. So I just want to recognize that this is, I'm one project of many across the world who are working towards this inclusive model of work. But these gaps still seem to be present. And my own research with University College Cork is highlighting that. I'm doing a participatory artistic research project with intellectually disabled artists. And really the data that's coming from that research is showing that people really are still finding themselves trying to overcome a range of different barriers to work as artists. If I might just add one last thing before you come back, and that is one of the big issues that we have here is kind of holding a social floor for people. So what I mean by that is people who might be on social supports, for example, disability allowance, or in some stages, these community employment funded schemes. Often they feel that there is a risk to moving into employment, that their allowances will be reduced or taken from them if they move into the professional sphere. And of course, we all know that the arts sector is a very challenging environment for anybody to work in, and sustainability within that sector is very challenging. So we need to think about how we can support artists to work towards a career of choice, but also have the support of these kind of social protections that allow people to explore, and where floors are required, that they remain in place and are not removed from people. And I think that's another thing we need to consider.
Yeah. Are there any strengths where the politics, the Irish Department of Social Welfare Department, could make progress and some change on these problems you just described? Who could be the problem solvers?
Well, we had a meeting with the Commission not so long ago, and one of the things our artists are finding is that when they're doing advocacy work around arts, and as we move throughout the European Union, that artists that I work with have been receiving letters about why they're moving outside of the country for more than 2 weeks of the year. I think what social protection and governments and at a European level, what we really need to look at is this freedom of movement for citizens, which is a value, of course, of the European Union, and how we can support that, and that there would not be risks. So I think we do need our political leaders to uphold the values that are set in terms of European policy, to allow disabled artists and disability advocates to move freely throughout Europe without feeling any risk that they're being investigated for moving around the European Union, and that would be in any way of risk to their allowances and supports. And I think that's something we need to focus on politically.
Okay, yeah, thank you. You just focused on European level, international level, and we of course have a big audience here digitally and here in Vienna. Which tools can your project offer and your experience for other countries or other parts, regions to transfer your knowledge and your vision to get access to business of arts for people with disabilities?
I think the most transferable piece of work that we feel that could be shared and upscaled globally is this apprenticeship type model. So what we're trying to do is link disability service providers and the art sector together to provide kind of sustainable educational pathways towards employment that would be more focused, maybe less focused on academic and more focused on practice. And by enabling these kind of up to 4-year pathways that are supported, that these apprenticeship type models between sectors can really support artists to move into the professional sphere, and building that knowledge of how that can be done between the disability sector, which often has its own culture and dynamics, and the cultural and artistic sector, which often seems to have a set of governance and rules that can not always complement each other. So we need to find a way in this middle space to kind of connect and develop. And actually, that's what my research is about, which I hope to be able to share at some point next year.
Yeah, you were just talking about that. How could people connect to you and your research results and the strategy for implementation, for transferring?
So what I would say is they can go on to Owen Nash on LinkedIn is probably the best profile to follow me on with regard my research, which is spelled E-O-I-N. It's an Irish spelling, Nash, N-A-S-H. And of course, you can follow our artistic work on Suisha Arts on the different social media platforms. So I'll be sharing about the research and practice that I'm engaged with, and we'll be, of course, developing that throughout the next year. I'm hoping to conclude that research project in between May and April next year, with results coming in the summer of next year, 2026.
Okay, this is an exact result where we can expect more valuable information and knowledge for transferring. Yeah, thank you, Owen, for sharing all this experience and knowledge, and I'm highly appreciate it and wish you all the best with your project, and we'll certainly connect in the near future. Thank you for spending the time with us all here.
Thank you, and good luck to everyone at Zero Project for the few days.
Okay.
Thanks for talking.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.